He left his wife for a young lover, but what did he get in return? Jessica was packing her suitcase. She was flying to sunny Florida to the ocean coast tomorrow. She told her husband that she was flying with a friend. Michael didn't believe it, but kept quiet. He still loved his young wife madly, although at the same time he hated her for her indifference. Michael had health problems and had recently twisted his leg badly. Jessica couldn't devote time to him, work, personal life outside the home. So she hired a nurse, a retired woman named Mary, to look after him. "Well, there will be someone to talk to for two retired people," Michael joked sadly. Jessica was once a young widow. Michael received a promotion and became the head of the law firm where she worked, and he simply could not help but pay attention to her. Beautiful, elegant, with long blonde hair always neatly combed. "What happened to this young employee? What is her name?" "Jessica Parker, I think," he asked his secretary one day, by the way. "Her husband died in a car accident a year ago. She has a young son." Michael felt an incredible attraction to Jessica, although he was already in his 50s and she was only 26. But he held back. Status, fear of losing a prestigious position. A year had passed since the tragedy, and Jessica no longer wore black. She began to dress more brightly, smile more often. She found herself some millionaire, the employees gossiped. "Millionaires are looking for young models, not single mothers," the others laughed. "And who needs other people's children now?" Michael hesitated, but still decided to help her. At the end of the working day, he called Jessica into his office. "Miss Parker, I have decided to provide you with financial assistance." He handed her an envelope with money. "Thank you. Where should I sign?" "Nowhere. It's, well, a personal contribution." Michael looked as if he had just been caught in a lie. Jessica understood everything. "And also, Miss Parker, could we have dinner together sometime? Would you tell me about your difficulties? Maybe I can help. I understand your situation. A single woman, a small child." Jessica looked carefully at her boss. Tall with a little gray hair, self-confident. Women like men like that. "I'll think about it," she answered, although mentally she had already agreed. They met secretly. For Jessica, it was profitable, and Michael was overcome with real feelings. He had never doubted his wife before, but now he began to notice her shortcomings, to get irritated over trifles. He even became ruder to his son. One day Michael realized, this could not go on like this. He mustered up the courage to tell his wife, "We need to get a divorce, Sarah. You can choose to stay in our house or move to an apartment downtown." He expected a scandal. "I suspected you had a mistress," Sarah replied calmly. "You've changed a lot, Michael, and our son has noticed it. If you're giving us a choice, we'll stay in the apartment." She paused. "And also, late love is deceptive. Remember that." Sarah was originally from Texas. After a few months, she decided to move back home, closer to her parents. Their son Alex supported her decision, but he had become distant from his father. Michael begged Sarah to stay. "You used to be my world, Michael, but now this city is foreign to me, and I am foreign to him. By the way, I have already found a buyer for the apartment." Jessica and her daughter moved into Michael's country mansion. He loved little Sophie through the prism of her mother, but at the same time he felt resentment towards his own son. And Sarah sometimes called, told about their new life, about Alex's school successes. Jessica asked Michael to help her with her career growth. Soon she got a more prestigious job in another company. Sophie lived in abundance, spoiled and naughty. She answered her mother defiantly, and once through Michael, "You are not my father, so don't you dare tell me how to live." Alex did not invite his father to his wedding. Sarah told him about the upcoming event, asking Michael to come. He never left. Jessica refused him. "And what are you going to do there? Do you want to be ashamed if your ungrateful son kicks you out the door? Maybe at least give money? A wedding is an expensive pleasure." But Jessica, who always carefully counted every dollar, dissuaded Michael from even this idea. She reminded him that Sarah had successfully sold an apartment in the center. Meanwhile, the cold had developed into a serious complication, and Michael's health had deteriorated significantly. More and more often, he called not Jessica, but Sarah, telling her about his well-being. Jessica did not want to listen to his complaints. For Sophie, Michael had ceased to exist at all. She often spoke of him in the third person, mocked his age. He could not understand why he had offended her so much. Soon her stepdaughter moved in with her fiancé. Michael felt relieved. Jessica was increasingly late for work. Michael didn't believe her. He felt that someone had appeared to her. "Darling," she said softly one day, "you should transfer the company to me. I keep order anyway. I solve all the problems." "Why did you suddenly bring this up? You're getting tired. Nobody lasts forever." This time he felt hatred for her, but when Jessica came closer, stroked his cheek and purred something tender, everything went away. He still loved this woman. Time dragged on for Michael long and boringly. On warm evenings, he sat on the porch, waiting for Jessica to return. On rainy days, he looked out the window at the road. Here comes the gate. Jessica drove into the yard in her favorite red car. She got out gracefully, a mysterious smile flickering on her lips. Michael gritted his teeth. Recently, his old friend Brian had seen her outside a restaurant. She was tenderly saying goodbye to some young man. Then this stranger would come into her office. "Tell me about him," Michael said sharply, as soon as Jessica crossed the threshold of the house. "About who?" "About your lover." "And did you tell your ex-wife about your affairs?" She replied ironically and went to the bedroom to change. At the mention of Sarah, Michael's heart and conscience stung. Now he understood how painfully he had offended his ex-wife and son. He remembered her words about deceptive love. Jessica had called Michael twice from her vacation. She asked if the nanny was coming, told him how wonderful it was at the beach. Sarah had called too, asked about his health, told him about Alex and their grandson. In the morning, Michael felt some inexplicable anxiety, as if something was pressing in his chest. Soon Brian came in. "I didn't want to tell you, Michael, but it's a sin to keep quiet. Your Jessica went on vacation with that young man everyone saw near her office. He's a regular Alphonse." Michael silently squeezed the armrests of his chair. That's who his unfaithful wife was actually vacationing with. Although, deep down, he already guessed it. That evening, Michael felt sick. His chest hurt, as if something was squeezing his heart. He dialed Jessica's number, but she didn't answer. At that moment, she was basking in the arms of her young lover. Jessica called in the morning, but Michael couldn't pick up the phone anymore.